Uh, okay, so good evening and thank you for joining me once again on Off the Court. The name is Winston Mavoro, your usual host. And on this particular platform, we discuss nothing but the game of basketball with one goal, which is progressive conversation with the sole purpose of ensuring that the game develops at whatever level. And of course, we interact with different stakeholders that are within and involved in the game of basketball. And this evening will be particularly a very special edition as we begin 2024, the second episode of the year. And of course, I'm very excited because today will be an opportunity where we get to interact with the champions, the people that did exceptionally well when it comes to basketball in the 2022-2023 season. And joining me on today's edition is obviously household names, people that you know, people that you've interacted with, and some of you actually, these are your idols, if I may confidently say that. These are people that have shown leadership both on and off the court, and their discipline and dedication to the game has actually yielded admirable results, which is obviously the pinnacle of it all, and that is the national championship when we talk about the game of basketball. So joining me on the program this evening, I've got Material Magic skipper Steezy Chongo Chona, the man himself leading the battalion that took the Tamanga boys to the summit once again of Zambian basketball. You're welcome, Mr. Chona, on the program this evening. And of course, I've got the Iron Lady, very good friend of mine. She is with us this evening. Always comes through whenever I call on her, and that is Sarah Decker, another interesting, phenomenal woman, basketball player and coach, full of wisdom. And one thing that I like about this lady is that she's always eager to learn and very receptive. So those of you that are watching this episode, you're going to have a great time learning from this maestro. And of course, I have another interesting individual whose network seems to not be cooperating that much. I don't know what's up with Lusaka Basket Kings people, guys. You know, last week I had Coach Martin Sekuru here, and his network was tripping on us. Can you imagine? So I hope we're going to have Mondos joining us, Mr. Francis Chelevela, who is the captain of the Lusaka Basket Kings, the champions of the Bantam League, and he will be with us this evening. We will be obviously conversing and talking basketball. And another gentleman that will be with us is hailing all the way from Sulawesi. So this time around, we have Northwestern Province being represented on this platform. Remember, it is basketball without borders or beyond borders, lest I get sued by some other people. So this evening, we will be discussing basketball. And one thing that I love, or that I always, in fact, some years back, I had an opportunity to read a book by Michael Jordan that was talking about his journey, you know, to glory, what it took for him to turn out to be the individual that he became, the icon that he became within the game of basketball. So I found that experience quite enriching and enlightening in the sense that there were lessons that I was able to pick from his basketball journey that I could and have applied in my life to be where I am today and continuing to get where I want to get. So this evening we will have that particular opportunity to get to hear from these individuals what it took for them to be where they are today in the game and basically what the game has done for them. But before we get into the nitty-gritties of our conversation, allow me to start with the lady on the platform, the only person bringing color and some beauty to this particular setup this evening, and that is no other than Sarah. So Sarah, I'm going to start with you. For those of our viewers that may be watching this for the first time or perhaps just logging in now, they would like to get to know who Sarah is briefly. So just accord us this opportunity. I know you've been on this platform. This is not your first time, but for those that are having an opportunity to interact with you for the very first time, they would like to know who Sarah is. So just let us in a little bit into that. Okay, so just kindly unmute your microphone, Sarah. I think your microphone is currently muted. Okay, good. Oh my word, we've just lost Sarah as she was unmuting her microphone. So I think Chongo, you were here when I was giving Sarah the floor. As we wait for Sarah to come back, I will give you the floor, Chongo. You seem to have
Okay.
quite some stable network. So just tell people, who is this Steezy Chongo Chona?
First of all, thank you for having me. Stevie Chona is obviously the guy who's been causing problems in the league for some time now. Humble beginnings, started with Looters, now with the Material Magic. So that's Chongo Chona. Just a simple guy.
Just a simple guy, Chongo Chona. Started with Looters, now with Magic. You didn't just throw from the sky, sir, into the Looters basketball team. People would like to know, before Looters, where were you? Where were you playing? How did it start?
Oh,
What inspired you to start to like the game of basketball?
well, firstly, I didn't like basketball to begin with. I was a guy from Southern Province in Namyanga playing football, and I was really good at it. I'm pretty sure if I continued with soccer, maybe I would have been the guys playing the AFCON right now. You know. Yeah, so I used to be a soccer guy, but then somehow I couldn't fit in the team. So a friend of mine actually just forced me to say, "Hey, there's basketball this side. Try it out." You know, he used to play basketball a lot. He used to see a lot of guys wearing this big short. So it was so new to me. So I tried to play basketball for the first time, and the only thing I could do was jump, literally. So I grab the ball and I try to dunk it, and I do that. So that's literally where the spark came from. I love to dunk. That's something that I used to see people do, on TV and whatnot. It looked really cool. So that is where I started playing my basketball from. I'm pretty sure that was just 2 years of high school in Namyanga. Then I completed, come to Lusaka. I joined Luton, and Luton, when I came into the league, most of the people even knew that I could not shoot or dribble the ball. The only thing I could do was dunk. That was the inspiration.
Okay.
So that's my basketball journey. That's how I got into loving basketball. Just for the dunks, nothing else. Just for the dunks.
Okay, interesting. Looking at the player that you are now and where you're coming from, obviously people would agree that there's been a whole lot of changes to your game, but we will get into that a little bit later on. Let me give the floor to Sarah, who's with us. Sarah, just people would like to know you a little bit. Who is Sarah? Where did your basketball journey start?
Thank you, Wendy. So it's a very funny story. Oh, my name is Adeka Sarah, but most people know me as Nikki. So my basketball journey is quite a very funny story because my first coach is actually here. Francis Kelewela, aka Mondos, was my first coach. When I was at Pemba
Interesting.
High School, when I was at Pemba High School, I used to love being found where the basketball court was, and unfortunately for us, at Pemba High School, it was a little bit segregated because basketball there was strictly for the guys. So when I went there, I developed interest. I put some girls, but Mondos would just put us on a basketball court with no hoop. The board was there, but there was no hoop. From Pemba High School, I went to, after I graduated, I was in Mazabuka. I played for Comets. Then I came to Lusaka. I joined Hotspurs. From Hotspurs, I went to Material Magic Sparks. I was one of the 6 ladies that opened up Material Magic Sparks. From Material Magic Sparks, I went to Unza Hanis. From Unza Hanis, I'm now at Lusaka Basket Queens, where I'm the captain and still playing there.
Okay, interesting enough. Let me now go to the coach and sort of inspiration to your basketball journey. And this is a wonderful friend of mine, Mr. Francis Chedevela, again, whose network seems not to want us to interact with him this evening. But either ways, we will not give up on Mondos until he comes back. But let me throw the ball to the man that has a legendary name in the game of basketball. and this is Mr. Jordan. Good evening, Mr. Jordan. We didn't get a chance to introduce you as everybody else was doing the introductions. So before you get to answer, just tell people that are watching us right now who Jordan is and what inspired you to start your journey in the game of basketball.
Oh, so good evening, everyone. Good evening to you, Richard. So my inspiration comes from Bonamku Net. So my dad was one of the first managers of Bonamku Net, and he was one of the first people, one of the first coaches of that team. So ever since we were young, for the kids, me and my brothers, we always joined him. We always accompanied him to the games at Zamshu Ndola. So growing up with that team, growing up with watching Christian Desha, David Warrior, DSO, and all the legends of Ndola, just inspired me to play basketball. So I started at Temweni high school basketball, but didn't take it serious until I moved to Northwestern. So that's where my inspiration comes from, and that's where I've tried to still stay in the game because of the inspiration that I've got from the legends of Ndola and the likes.
Interesting there that David Timson, the current champion coach for Magic, inspired you. But quickly, let's get to hear from Mondos. Briefly, Mondos, just tell us, who is Francis Chelevela, the gentleman that obviously is celebrated, a friend of everybody when it comes to the game of basketball? Francis, are you able to hear me? Okay, so we seem to have a little bit of challenges with Francis over there. But Chongo, let me come back to you. Recently, Matero Magic, just won the championship, and congratulations for winning the championship. So what I'd like to find out first, you've been there, you've experienced it before. This was not your first time, but your reaction, your jubilation, your celebration, to a person that doesn't know that you are a multiple champion holder when it comes to Zambian basketball, they would think it was your first time. So briefly, just tell us, first of all, how does it feel to win the championship? Do you get used to the feeling?
I'm telling you, it's a crazy feeling. You no one would understand until you are in it. I'm telling you. And this one was just so different for me because I feel like this is one of the seasons that we struggled, especially from the time we started the league. We had lost a lot of guys. Some of the guys retired. Some of them got better opportunities, and those were key players. So we had to really dig deep. We brought in a couple of guys, some of them really young. Literally the whole league was a new phase for them. But then they kept on growing and growing and growing. So this one was so special for me. We had to really dig deep. I'm sure you saw how we performed in the league. We came out third, which I don't remember the last time we actually took that position of Matero Magic. So coming down, and then what even made matters worse is facing Buffaloes in the final, because Buffaloes was one of the teams that gave us problems the entire season. We lost to Buffalo, if I'm not wrong, should be about 5 games in a row. So I knew to say it was going to be a tough final. So we had to do so much. We worked hard for this one.
Okay, interesting. Nikki, let me come to you. Lusaka Basket Queens, a lot obviously happened. And like you said, you started Magic Sparks, but what inspired you to leave Magic Sparks and eventually take your talents to Lusaka Basket Queens, where you are currently?
So I think I remember it was like the semi-final of the last games I played with Magic Sparks. We lost to, I think, Unza Hanis was the team that took us out. Then I was outside because coach didn't play me. That time it was, okay, I won't mention the coach who was coaching us. I think he sat me. The only time I played for like 23 seconds and it was a blowout. So I was outside. I was just, beating myself and saying, am I that bad of a player? And then Coach Casper Tembo just spoke to me and said, I'm a player. Wakunka per bench. He said, Funa ma player. And then, I think it was just a psychological thing for me. And then to think of playing with people like Ena Lapondani, I've always looked up to Ena Lapondani. I mean, that time when Ena Lapondani is on the court with you, you just want to give her the ball. She's opposition. You don't want her guarding you or her attacking you. So you just want to give her the ball. So I thought about it, and yeah, I think the decision wasn't based on the fact that maybe Sparks was a bad team. No, but I just wanted to, evolve as a player, and then I made the decision and I went to Unza Hannes. And I think that decision for me helped me grow as a player, because there I found people that pushed me. We had Miriam, Dorcas, those guys would push you. At that time we had Zodwa. They would actually push you to be a better player, and they would encourage you, like, work on your weaknesses. You're not really that bad of a player. You can actually do this. That was my transition from Sparks to Unza Hannes.
So now Unza Hannes, obviously, anyway, before we get into the Unza Hannes Lusaka Basket Queens arrangement, let me get to the gentleman Jordan. Funny enough, Jordan, I had never had an opportunity to watch Solwezi Knights in my life, not until this year. So having gone to Northwestern Province, where you decided to take basketball seriously and commit to the game, just tell us, how has your experience been with Solwezi Knights as a player?
So before I joined, or we made Solwezi Knights this season, I was part of Kansanshi Panthers. So Kansanshi Panthers was started by David Ntonda when we came to Northwestern in 2015. So that year we also won the B League, went to the A League. When we went to the A League, we qualified for the championships multiple times until last year when the Mines put out the sponsorship, and Northwestern and Solwezi, they didn't have any team in the league or in any type of basketball team. That's when we decided, me and the other players that were still in Solwezi, to make our own team. So Blessings in Kandu, Changudia Saka Pumbaleon Mario, Shtetalunetia, Charlie Shamaleo as well. We decided to make a team, because if Panthers is not there anymore, there won't be basketball in Solwezi. And it was up to us. We don't have sponsorship, but we can do something, can contribute, we can travel every week. And that was the whole point. We brought the high school boys together, everyone who can play, made Solwezi Knights this season and entered the league. So it's been a challenge for us, because we have to raise about 7,000 every weekend, or if you have games, because you have to travel about 250 kilometers to Kitwe, Ravens, and play and then go back. Sometimes you have to sleep in Kitwe. So this season was hard. Even the wins that we are racking up, the championship run that we had, everything was just inspired. Everyone knew what we were working for, and it was to keep basketball alive in Solwezi and Northwestern at large. Because of that, we have some new teams that are coming through, because they've seen what Solwezi Knights have done. We have teams in Lumwana, Kalumbera that want to enter the league as well, because of the inspiration they are getting from Solwezi Knights. Been a great experience, been a great season, and I hope we can build from this momentum and also cause some damage in the A League, in the
CBA. I like the fact that you're looking to cause some damage in the A League. That is something that is very, very interesting. I'm sure Mr. Mondos or Nikki there, on behalf of Francis and the rest of the Lusaka Basket Kings, are like, okay, we'll be waiting and we'll be ready for you. But anyway, Nikki, you mentioned something very, very important. You talked about being benched. As a person that has played basketball as well, I understand just how frustrating that can be. And allow me to direct this question to Chongo, the Magic captain. When people look at you right now, Chongo, obviously, people think that obviously because you've got the height, you've got, the skill and the heart and everything, it has been easy for you. Tell us, have you had, have you experienced such where you are benched, where you're not the guy, right now at Magic? Yes, you are the guy, but have you ever been in a place where you're not the guy, where you have to sit down, learn, watch other people, take the lead?
Yeah, of course. There've been games where it's as a captain, you just give out your spot. When a certain guy seems to be ready. I've had games where I've actually asked the coaches not to start me from the bench and maybe let someone take the lead. I've had games where it's not just in me that day. My offense is off, my defense is off. Someone takes in, and then I sit. I think most of the quarters. I've had those, but they don't really affect me because the goal is to win at the end of the day. So if I'm not the guy and someone is doing it, well, I'm resting. I'm enjoying that moment. Someone takes it up. As long as we get the win, you have to do the dirtiest of stuff. At times, it takes you to be the guy that makes the fouls, and you sit the whole game. We do whatever it takes to win. If it means sitting you the best player or that the whole game, then you have to take it. You have to take it. The win is all you need. It's a team sport, so it's not always about me. It's not. It hasn't. It shouldn't be just about me. It's about the team. So if we get the win, then I'm okay. I'm always okay with that.
I like what I'm seeing in the comment section here from George Kawewe, who says Chongo has never been benched. So looking at looking at what George is saying, what would be your advice to the young players right now? Sometimes coaches have different philosophies. Nikki said something very, very important, and I love the way Nikki brought it out. She said, look, there are these experienced players that are capable of delivering, okay? And sometimes the experienced players may not be showing the same commitment that you as a rookie or you as a young player is showing, but they are the go-to guys for the coaches. What would be your advice to the young players out there right now that may be on the Material Magic roster, enjoying and basking in the glory at the moment of the 2022-2023 championship, but at the same time, they're discontent, they are frustrated, they're looking at themselves and saying, look, I can do what Chongo is doing at the moment. The man is not even dunking anymore. I can dunk that ball. Why am I not on the floor?
At times, you see, the problem I've seen with the generation now, sorry to say, we're in a rush. Okay. We're in a rush to take over. Okay. We're not patient enough to learn. I feel like guys like me, because when I'm looking at my personal intake, most of the guys I started with have stopped playing now. And I think what has really helped me is the patience, because I learned it from way back. You have to be patient enough to allow your coaches to play you at the right time. You have to be patient enough to learn. We're too in a hurry to show what we can do. So I think that's one of the biggest challenges. We don't trust our coaches enough. We take every single time a coach is not really playing you, we always take it the wrong way. We don't see what they're trying to teach us. One of the biggest lessons I learned when I joined Luthers, because I just came from Southern Province and I was the guy there. Everybody knew to say there's a guy with cornrows that dunks. So when I go to Luthers, when I say never, I'd never heard of any basketball player in Lusaka. I didn't even know one person. So when I came, I joined Luthers, and the only reason I joined it is my uncle, Mr. Scarlett of more that time, was a coach. So he told me to come join. So I go there, and I'm feeling like I'm the guy, So the first day of practice, I saw now the prime Wezi, Kubaya, Francis, Daniel Senda, Chuma. Frank, Eric, those are the guys that were playing there. So I get there, and then after that 1 day of practice, my own uncle told me that you need to go back because I can't use you this year. But I came back and I trained the entire year without even getting any playtime. I was patient enough. I had my first break against Napsa. I think most of the people always remember me from that dunk. Lutas was leading, I think, by like 20 points. The fourth quarter game is almost done. I get to play first minute, have a steal. I dunk. Everybody's wondering who's this new kid, you know. And then it was just for like 2-3 minutes, and I was subbed back up. You know, at that time I didn't understand because when I came in, I was just dunking, and everybody was just admiring that. But my uncle saw that, and that was my coach. He saw that I still have time. I need to learn. Why am I dunking? Why am I doing this? So he served me, and I never played a single game again until the season ended. But I was patient enough to learn. So I think that's one of the biggest challenges we've had in the league, that this generation is not patient.
Interesting take over there. As I come to you, Nikki, David here, obviously the comment is actually on the screen at the moment. David is saying, when Stizzichona came to Magic, he was a bench player. The bench motivated him to work on his missing skills to earn playtime. Interesting observation there from Coach David Msonda there, the issue of earning playtime. But Nikki, let me come to you. From your personal experience, sitting on the bench, okay, how was it like? You know, I don't want us to glamorize this whole experience like it was just easy, you know, it was just a walk in the park. How was it like for you sitting in the bench, you know, having that urge, feeling like you can go on the floor, do something, contribute to the team, but not being given an opportunity?
I think in my first 3 years of playing basketball, the time I started at Hotspurs were very few, so I used to play like a lot. I would miss those layups on my own because we were few. Then when I went to Sparks, we had like other players join in, and then that's when it started kicking in. But I think when I went to Unza Hanis, that's when I actually realized, like what Chongo said, sometimes it's not really about you and not being a good player. Sometimes it's about what does the team need. Does the team need Nikki on the court now? Am I able to give the team what the next person is giving? Like the first time I joined Unza Hanis, we qualified to the nationals. I think we played best of 5. I played all four series, and we won. I think we played against Napsa. That time I didn't know how to shoot the ball. I still couldn't make my layups, but I was played. I even asked Coach Mule to say, when we won the nationals, I was like, why did you keep me on the court? He was like, because you are able to control slow down the game, and your defense was on point, and that's what we needed, you to just close the guy that was giving us a lot of problems. So now going back to Unza Hanis, when I joined Unza Hanis, I learned that when you're playing a national championship, not all the 12 players are able to play. Even these just ended national championships with Lusaka basket teams. There was, I think it was Buffalo's game too. That game was so heated. I didn't even want to be on the court. My teammates were handling it. So it was so intense. Everything we needed was on the floor. Mayuka was on fire. Emma was on fire. Cynthia was on fire. Gift was on fire. So that doesn't hurt as a player if your teammates are delivering. They're doing what the team requires them to do. We're winning, like what Chongwa said. But I think mostly as a player, before I got to the part of being a coach, as a player, what hurts sometimes is you find, I see a lot of young kids. You find maybe this kid is actually good, but there are some coaches who prioritize older players because of maybe their personal relationships, or maybe how do I put it? Or maybe they are scared of the older player yelling at the coaches, because we see instances where players actually get vocal with the coaches. So you find they bench this player who's very skilled and play somebody who's not really skewed because of their relationship. Also, you find sometimes what hurts as a player is being benched. You find, maybe I'll give an example of it's just an example, right? Okay, maybe you and you are my teammate, then you're on the court and you're missing 20 layups, you're not playing defense, and then coach keeps on pushing you like, let's go and you do until the game is done, and then we lose, and then there's this player who we know that can actually at least play defense, just give us that component that you're missing. That, I think, also affects a lot of players. I think that's something we really, really need to consider. But like what Chongo said, it's a process. You need to understand yourself as a player, work hard. Like the way Lusaka Basket Queens is right now, I can't lie. Like, I really, really need to work hard. The next person needs to work hard, because the team is almost so solid that the point guards, Mayuka can shoot. I can shoot the ball. Mayuka can dribble. So what is it that I can bring to the team that Mayuka can't? So I need to work hard, because the way it is now, it's really, really something that we as a team actually need to work on as players individually. I think that's what I would say.
Okay, so obviously, in the words of Michael Jordan, hard work is definitely one thing that all champions have to have on their resume, just to agree with what you're saying. But let me bring on Mr. Jordan here, the only Jordan that we have on the panel this evening. How fortunate we are to have the GOAT with us this evening. Obviously, I don't know whether it's the GOAT of basketball or the GOAT of Solozzi Knights, but that's a conversation for another day. Anyway, Mr. Jordan, I would like to get your experience when it comes to trusting the process, waiting for your turn. Have you ever been in that situation in Solezzi Knights, or is the team currently experiencing anything similar to that? And how are you handling it as a captain?
Okay, so just to make it clear, I can say this was my breakout season. This was the first season that I would say I contributed on the court very much. Last season, I was a bench player. Like, I was on the bench, but I wasn't complaining. I'm not complaining about that because of the players that we had. When you look at the guys that we had David Chatika, we had Taonga Ngoma, Gavin, Santos. So we had very good guys. And the only thing that I can do is support the guys, learn from the guys. And that paid off this season from what I picked up from those guys. I trained, I did my best in the off season. And every time I go on the court, I always try to contribute in one way or another. I'm not known as an offensive player. I do my part on defense. I do my part as a leader, whether I'm on the bench or on the court, or even if I'm not playing, I have to do something to help the team win. And I've had that mentality ever since I started playing basketball. Last season, during the second game of the season, we played against Lunga, and I was on the bench the whole game. And the young guys I was with on the bench for Kasai Panthers, we used to complain because we got some new guys who just came in, and they would play a lot of minutes. But at the end of the day, when you look at the way they are playing, you look at the type of shots they are hitting, you can't do that. You can't do what they are doing. These are really good players that are on the court, and what you just need to do is, as Chongo said, the patience. You have to put in the hard work and wait for your turn as well. Go back to the drawing board, train, and just be ready for the moment. And from whatever happened this season with the creation of Solezzi Knights, opportunity came. It was just 5 experienced players. I was there. What can I do? Let me play defense. Or I have an open shot. Let me hit the shot. Oh wow! Transition, fast break. Let me hit this. I started building on that. I could play 2 or 3 positions. I perfected it. If I'm on the ball, I can pass the ball. Oh, let me work on my passes. Let me work on my rebounding. Let me work on this. Every simple thing that I worked on during the off season, just put together, became a very good thing, and that helped me to be the player I am today. So it's been a long road for me, just from the bench to be one of the reliable players on the court.
Interesting journey right there from you, Jordan. Obviously, Darlington Kando there, giving you some props, saying you are the distinguished floor general for the Solwezi Knights. Now, let me go back to the Matero Magic skipper, Mr. Steezy Chongochona. Joseph from the comment section raised something very pertinent. He talked about the issue of, apart from patience, according to his own observation, a lot of young players at the moment do not really appreciate the importance of roles when it comes to joining a basketball team. And you spoke about something very, very interesting. You talked about interesting characters, that personally had an opportunity to play with as well. Talk about the likes of Wezi, brilliant, phenomenal point guard, a guy that could play without turnovers, Talk about Kubaya, a gentleman, general, in his own rights. So how has the issue of understanding your role helped you to be able to have opportunities to secure playtime and just grow as a player?
I think one of the biggest things that I learned from those guys is I know when to engage myself to the game. It doesn't matter if I've been on the bench for 2 quarters. I take every single time I'm on the bench, I get to watch and understand what my team needs at a particular time. For instance, I think in the last game that we played, I was more dominant on the defensive side, and my offense was shaky, but my dominance from the last game came from my defense. So I've learned to say, I understand that I'm not the most talented ball handler. I'm not the most talented shooter. Most of the guys tease me every time I'm shooting, but I know to say what I have is my energy. My energy comes, with my tough play and everything. So I'm able to impact the game the moment I just enter when I decide to. Whether it's the tempo to pick up, to be aggressive on the offensive side, or it's the defensive side. So that's one of the biggest things that I've learned as a player, to say, hey, you're not, Steph Curry, you can't shoot the ball, you can't dribble really much. So 2 dribbles, if you can't penetrate, hold it, kick it back. I understood all of those things. So now impacting what I have, was just something that took some time, but eventually it came through.
Interesting over there. Nikki, let me come to you. I know that Lusaka Basket Queens, obviously, in as much as this season has been very, very historic for you guys. And, I won't get tired of saying congratulations to you guys for achieving a feat that will forever be recorded in the annals of basketball history in this country, when we talk about a team going unbeaten and eventually sealing the deal by finishing at the summit and the apex of the feminine league in this country. But another thing that Chongo mentioned before I ask you about, the team, is the issue of respecting the coaches, respecting the coaches. I would tell you, I come from a school, obviously, where the coach could easily slap you. The coach could easily do anything he wants because you looked at him as your parent, and he will not slap you for free, by the way. He will not just slap you anyhow because he's frustrated anyway. No. But we looked at coaches as parents. They were not even regarded as second parents. They were basically just parents. Whatever they say goes. There's no argument. There's no debate. Tell me, when it comes to respecting coaches, how has that been instrumental in the successful journey of the Lusaka Basket Queens? And you as a player, tell us the truth. Have you had instances where you disrespected a coach?
I think I'll start with the last question. No, I've actually never disrespected any of my coaches. And I don't think, no, I haven't. I've never disrespected any of my coaches. But I think for us this season as Lusaka Basket Queens, actually respecting and listening to our coaches really, really helped us in attaining the 21 to 27 to 0 games that we won. Because like what there's that proverb that says what an elderly person sees when they are standing, when they are seated, sorry, a child who's standing can't see. So there were times when Coach Mule or Coach Martin would tell us to do something in a game. You find maybe you are down and then you're thinking the defense they're telling you to play is actually what's killing you. And then they keep on telling you, just keep doing it because they've seen something. So for us, we tried to be like, coach, coach is, maybe coach isn't seeing what's happening, but we still listened and kept on doing it. And then when after we won the game, we forgot about that component, and then he would come and say, "You've seen, guys, that defense. Yes, you're saying it was killing us, but we took out the people that were actually scoring using that defense." Even at training, sometimes you find we are tired, and then they'll just say, 10 seconds, you have to run from this end of the court to the other end of the court. You're tired, like you're literally tired. You'd say, coach, they'll just say, just go on the baseline. Yes, you'd be upset, you're agitated, but you just have to run it. When you're playing Buffaloes, Green Buffaloes, those people are fit. I think Chongo can bear with me on that one. I don't know about the guys, the ladies, they are fit. They run from morning. They've got like two or three training sessions. So that 10 seconds helps because now, for example, you're guarding someone like Gift, who's a point guard. She can dribble the ball from this end to this end and come back and play defense, get the ball again. So the 10 seconds comes in handy. So just listening to the coaches and respecting them, even though it hurts sometimes, you'll be sweating and you're tired. The respect was there. And I think that was a very, very big component for us that really helped us achieve what we did this season, the past season, sorry.
Okay. So let me go to the gentleman from Solwezi, the only Jordan on the platform, Mr. Jordan, the man himself. You talked about the issue of sacrifices being a critical component that propelled the Solwezi Knights to find themselves on the bigger stage of Zambian basketball, which is the national championship. And, from the comment section, obviously, we could see that a lot of people are actually, happy that you guys ended up where you ended up. And you had to obviously find a formidable opponent in the name of Lusaka Basket Kings to be able to just say, okay, hold on, Solwezi, it's not yet your time. But we would like to find out the issue of handling roles in the team. How has it been in a young team like Solwezi Knights, in a team that is still growing like Solwezi Knights? We've heard from Deca that at Lusaka Basket Queens, there's some sort of maturity where people understand their roles and they're comfortable to be able to fit in a system specifically functioning in a particular role. How has it been for a young team like Solwezi Knights, the issue of roles?
So when it comes to the issue of roles, so the team, the 12 that we used most of the season, we only had about 5 players that played in the A League for CBA, and two Joseph Mutamba and Ronald Musoyo, they are still kids in high school. That's like a grade 11 and a grade 10, and we're a big part of the team. We had kids who just wrote their grade 12s and they're waiting to go to university, Elijah Mlenje, Emmanuel, and the likes. So it was a mixture of just kids who come to play Sunday ball and some people with league experience. So when it comes to roles, it was up to us now. We didn't have a coach. Lennon was still playing. Charlie Shamaleo was in Kitwe. We just came together. Okay, guys, senior players, we teach the kids what they're supposed to do. We have kids who they hit 1 or 2 threes. They say, I'm a shooter. They can't do anything else. They just want to shoot the ball. Even if they miss 10, they would hit like 2 because they've seen Steph Curry do it. They want to do it. They want to do the good stuff, and they are able to do the dirty work on the court. So it was up to us. It was up to the senior players to pick the kids up, tell them how it's supposed to be. Okay, you say you're a point guard. Why are you a point guard? Some of them were just wanted to be point guards because they thought they get to bounce the ball most of the time. So we had to try to teach them whatever they learned in high school basketball. Okay, guys, forget that. This is the league. This is how you play the league. This is what you do. Your role is this. So that helped in a big way because of the experience that we had with the senior players that have played in the league, that have played in the championship. So it's very important, especially in Solwezi where we don't have league games. They don't know how it is. We had players approach a league game like it's under Busha, the way they dreamt about something or saw something on YouTube. They want to try it in a game. So it was a tough season because you have to tell them, okay, guys, this play, okay, we are running triangle, we are running this. They have to know. You just have to remind them each and every day, every play. You have to be there, vocal, and we can't blame them because for me, I understand. I used to be one of them when I was a kid. I thought that was the basketball, the sports center top 10 type of play where it's supposed to be the good stuff, the reverse layups and stuff. So for the big guys, we've done a really good job with the young kids and how to make sure that each and every one of us know our roles, and it was up to us. And God willing, we did a good job. They have learned. We look at how Joseph Mtambo played in the championship. This is his first season, and last season he didn't play any game in the league. Came in, played about 28 minutes in a championship final, and did good. He wasn't scared of anything. First time in NASDAQ, so you can see the maturity. You can see how much he has learned, how much the senior players have impacted in his game. So, been a good journey. The kids know a lot, and going forward, I'm sure everybody now knows. Like we know our roles and we know what we're supposed to do.
Interesting take over there from the man himself, Jordan. Nikki, I'm going to come to you again, and what I'd like to find out from you, what personal sacrifices have you had to make? And I'm talking about sacrifices as a player, and what personal or what team sacrifices did the Lusaka Basket Queens have to make for you to be able to be, the Queens, to have the bragging rights, to have the crown of Zambian basketball when it comes to the feminine division?
For personal sacrifice, I think it's been quite a lot. I'll start from there were times when we were asked to practice at 12 hours, and usually for me 12 hours is a bit tricky because I've got all this stuff I have to work on, and I had school then. I was writing my finals for my master's, and I had my thesis to work on, so it was quite a little bit of a hassle for me. And the fact that sometimes we train even on holidays, and then my sister would basically ask me, say, basketball, but they don't give you time to, break off, to just be at home or something like that. And sometimes we train like very late, would knock off late from training, and then all those things came in. But as a team, I think the sacrifices we made as a team is we just put aside our egos, our prides, everything that comes with personal, the personal baggage that you carry as an individual. We just came together and said, guys, we have one goal, and that goal is to win the national championship. And the funny thing is, I don't know, maybe my teammates would say otherwise, but for me, the whole season, there was never a time when we actually said, guys, we want to win the league. It was just a game at a time, a game at a time, a game at a time. We beat this team, okay, we move on. Next weekend, we're playing who? Until it actually clicked to say, oh, we are actually topping, like we are almost winning the league. After the league, it was a national championship. So the biggest sacrifices we made as a team was to just let go of whatever individual baggage you had to carry that would bring the team down, and just say, guys, we have one goal. Let's just work together as a team and then get this done and over with. Yeah.
So let me throw the question that Coach Davidson has posed on the comments, rather in the comment section, saying, how can a player be coachable? So in your opinion, this one, I know you answer it as a player and as a coach. How can a player be coachable?
I think I'll give an example of me. I'm one person who is, I think I've also worked with Coach David Musonda. There are times when he'll tell me, Nikki, your shot is not really that good of a shot, but it goes in. So what you need to do is just work on it, and you know, it will at the end of the day too. It works. If it works, it works. So if you want to be a coachable player, or a player can be coachable if they are willing to learn. The first thing is listen. Don't answer. Just listen and hear. Then after you listen, you can ask for a solution and say, okay, so what can I do to improve on that? But the problem that we have in our generation is, if Coach David, for example, comes to me and tells me, Nikki, you can't dribble on your left, or your left hand is weak. To me, I'll take it like, Coach David just hates me, doesn't like me. Instead of me asking, say, how can I work on that? I'm quick to actually think, no, maybe it's got a grudge on me. And also, I think as coaches, the way that maybe we would maybe how can I put it? Like, how we can make somebody coachable is, as coaches, like you said, we're supposed to be parents. So psychology comes in. We need to understand the players that we have. There are certain players who you actually have to, they're slow in learning. So you have to be patient with them when you're teaching them something. So if you're in a hurry to say, I've been teaching this person how to do a left layup, up to now they're not doing it. I'll give you an example. I coach Bulldog YBL under 10. These are really small kids. So you're teaching them how to do a left layup and they keep on doing the wrong things. You have to be patient with them. Then for players also, I think we have to be willing to listen and work hard. Team training is not the only training that's going to sustain you if you want to be a good player. Have time to work out on your own if you really love the game. Watch basketball clips. Don't just watch NBA. Actually, I'm not a fan of NBA. I mean, I feel like the whole NBA is kind of staged because those guys don't play defense. Watch a little bit of FIBA. Watch some Euro games. Watch some college basketball. Don't just watch NBA because there's LeBron James and what and what. Watch games that will help you grow as a player. I can't be here and saying no. Atanta Kumpo is the person that I look up to, and I can't even dunk. I mean, I'm like shorter than him. So instead, I can shoot the ball. Why don't I try and watch Steph and learn a bit of what he does, and not everything, because not everything is good for me because the leagues are different. I don't know if I've answered that question right.
Okay. Well, we'll take that. And obviously, to add to your thought is Darlington Kandu in the comment section, who says, um, answering, I believe, David's question about how can a player be coachable. He says, one who listens and works on his mistakes. I will get back to you, Nikki, on another question that David has posed. But first of all, let me get to Mr. Jordan. Mr. Jordan, what I'd like to find out,
Yes,
Nikki
sir.
talked about the issue of, there's a component of sacrifice, basketball versus life balance. How have you been able, okay, to achieve life and balance? Obviously, in this particular part of the world, we are not in a professional league, and obviously, people don't get paid to play basketball. You earlier indicated that you've been using your personal resources to be able to push the team up to where it got in the national championship. So, how has it been for you as an individual to be able to strike a balance between basketball and life generally?
It's been hard. It's been very hard. But we've been doing this for a long time. So it's now it's been like a normal type of occurrence for us. So just now, the same Darlington can do. All his leave days, all his leave days at work ended up being used because of basketball. That man right there, Darlington can't go for a vacation or anything because he has used up all his leave days to play basketball. So basketball is basically his vacation. It's the holiday for him. And that's just one of the things that we go through. We prioritize basketball more than most of the things in our lives. Just the passion and the hunger that we have for the sport to grow. We we want to look back maybe 20, 30 years from now and be like, okay, I contributed to this. This has been a lifestyle. So we don't really complain nowadays. We don't even have had feelings like, okay, I'm going to basketball. I'm supposed to be doing this. Basketball is what I do. Basketball is what we do. And sometimes you're just happy to be at the basketball court. Even if it rains, we don't have indoor courts in Solwezi. We're just happy to be with our peers, happy to be with our teammates. So at first we used to complain, but right now this is just accepted. It's our life, and I'm sure the benefits will be pushing this basketball in Solwezi, Northwestern, and in Zambia at large to a whole new level. That would be our reward. So I don't complain. I love it. I do it for the passion, and it's always a pleasure to be on the court with the guys, to be in the league, to be in the championships and everything. So for me, no hard feelings, just love.
All right, so there's a there's a very funny challenge here from So Piri, the MVP of the men's division. The Zambia Basketball Federation just ended championship from Material Magic, asking or challenging Coach David, saying we want Dunking Steezy back. Okay, so Coach David Msonda, we need Steezy to find his dunking form once again. But Nikki, David has a question for you here, and he says, what did the Lusaka Basket Queens do different from the rest to achieve the 27 in all record, and how do you rate the current female league? Now, there's been a lot of conversation, Nikki, on this with regards, the performance or the state of the feminine division when it comes to basketball in this country. Others feel it has deteriorated. Others feel, we're on course, we're making progress bit by bit. But from your perspective, how do you rate the current female league? Are we making progress? Are we static? Where are we exactly?
I think the female league right now, I think I'd rate it, if I was to rate it out of 10, I'd rate it maybe a 4. The time I started, maybe I would have rated it a 2, but I feel like we're making development and we're heading in the right direction. Being that we've got a lot of people now that are getting involved, we've got all these tournaments coming up, and we've always, as females in this league, we've always fought for equality. Now we've got tournaments. We even have the just ended national championships where the prize money was almost the same as the guys. So we also have the Ellen's tournament that's coming up. I hope you guys have paid affiliation. Coach David, I hope you've paid for that. So yeah, we have the tournament that's coming up in March, where she's put, if I'm not mistaken, I saw a post where she was saying prize money is going a little bit higher for the females, but it was equal. We also have the Nali Fans tournament that's coming up in March as well, where it's 50-50 for the ladies and the guys. So I think we are going in the right direction. Now I think the only emphasis I would put on this is, as we are fighting for equality in this, us females seriously need to work hard. We need to give these guys a reason to keep doing this. For the game to grow, it starts with us. We need to really, really work hard. Our games need to be interesting. We can't be having games that are being blown out like that, and we are crying for equality to play at 17 hours when our games and our skills are not improving. We're not working on that. But I think we're heading in the right direction. Then I think he asked how we managed to attend the 27-0. I'll start from just the way the team was formed. I think mentally we were, as players for LPQ, we were actually a little bit mentally frustrated. Before the league started, we were told to say Unza Hanis no longer wanted players that were not in school. So for us, it was a little bit, challenging. You're thinking, where am I going to go now? But guys, our management is so awesome. They didn't even give us that chance to have all those thoughts within the period of a week. They were saying, just train. The team is going to be there, just wait. But the team still stands, only that we're not going to be with Unza Hanis. So for us, it was a challenge, because now look, we have this group of people who are actually fighting for you guys to stay in the league, and they're a bunch of players. So what we had to do was reward them, and the only way we could reward them is by playing hard, showing up and working hard and training hard. And I think what really, really made us different from the other teams, I think we actually trained harder. And it was a challenge because we didn't have a venue. I think Dolphins, Sparks, which other Hotspurs would I think concur with me that we actually used to go into their training sessions just to invade their space and try to just train. Sometimes we'd even use the Zamshu volleyball courts, no hoops. They would just make us do our defense drills there. Would as long as we just trained, I think we really trained harder, and our coaches really, really had a plan for it. They just put it out there to say, ladies, look, you've been given this podium to perform. Let's train hard and let's just play a game at a time. So I think it was just hard work for us, hard work and knowing what exactly we wanted to achieve. That was the motivation behind the 27-0. And I think, given this chance, I would like to really, really appreciate Material Magic Sparks, Dolphins, Hotspurs, Nali Suns for giving us, a time to use their venues. I'm sorry, guys, that we disturbed you, but the job had to be done, and without you guys, we wouldn't have done it. Thank you very much.
Interesting. So a team that didn't have a basketball court ended up winning and going unbeaten. That's a very interesting phenomena over there. But let me come to you, Jordan, once again. There's a trend that I have seen emanate. Okay, so Mondos is back here. Mondos, are you able to hear me?
Crystal clear.
Finally, Mr. Mondos Francis Chelevela is back and is with us. Welcome. In fact, before I even engage Jordan, who's been here consistently with us, let me throw this question to you. You came at a time, Mondos, in this league when people didn't really mind playing for the money. Okay. And right now, what we hear is, you want to help a kid refine his skills as a coach, as a senior player. The question is, what's the offer? What are you going to give me? What are you going to pay me? So tell us, what are your thoughts on this issue of offers? Offers here, offers there.
I'm not quite in favor of that issue. Rather, people getting offers, especially the kids out there. We came at a point where we had to work hard to earn a spot on the team. We actually worked so hard to look good on the basketball court. We didn't know anything about offers, so to say. We played for fun. It was more fun winning, and it was more fun playing hard. And it's like you work out, and whatever you did in your workout works out in a ball game. So you actually feel good. The offers came as a bonus. It's like you're working so hard and someone just surprises you with something to say, okay, out of your hard work, I'm offering you this. It's a token of appreciation. Okay. So it's something that some of us dreamt of getting, how do I put it, a scholarship, so to say. We never thought of it as monetary salary. Nah, we just thought maybe we could get into school through basketball. So that's what we worked so hard for, to get into school, to get that sponsorship into school, to lessen the burden on our parents at home. Yeah. And some of those things came in and we were excited. But later, people said playing for money. It's, what are you offering me? I'm willing to come to your team, but what are you offering me? Okay. And people will not play so hard when they are not paid. They begin to compare themselves. Why is that guy getting so much? And so if he's getting so much, I will not play hard because he has to play hard. He's the one getting the most. Okay. So this has destroyed a couple of teams where those that are not getting paid will not put in the hard work because what's in for them? Why should they put their bodies on the line? Okay. But for some of us, we love the sport and we love to have a good day at work. So put in the work. Yeah, that's my take.
I like the fact that you talk about education, Mondos, and Let me now come to you, Jordan. You've talked about Solwezi Knights being a combination of both somewhat senior, older, and younger players, some of them waiting to go to university. How has been the aspect of emphasis on education been within the structures of the Solwezi Knights?
That's been one of our most talked about points. We recently had I don't want to say a scandal, an issue with one of the players during the league, the final games. It was the same week they were supposed to start the exams, and when we're talking about the team that was going to travel, and one of the players, the same player that I'm talking about, just came through like, you know what, I think I can travel because we're coming back on Sunday and then the exams are starting on Tuesday. So even if that player is one of our reliable shooters or point guards, we just had to be like, okay, this is school comes first, and also put in some guidelines. If you have exams, if you have tests or anything concerning school, you don't need to come to the basketball court. You need to invest that time into your books, do your revisions. Where you need help financially, we are here to help. We have a player who's at Solwezi Trades. So sometimes they would need staff when it comes to worksuits, boots and stuff. So when they're not able to manage that with an open door policy, you can come to the players, senior players, tell us what you need, we help you. You don't have food at your room, you tell us we help you in that aspect. We always come together and encourage when it comes to school. I also want to point out, I want to congratulate Elijah Mlenje, Emmanuel Waile, and everyone who's going to university from our team. These are good players, so it just means they put in the work on the court, they put in the work when it comes to school stuff, and they're going to CBU, Apex, Lusaka University, which is a very good thing for the team. And wherever they go, the teams are going to join. We are able to point, they came from Solwezi Knights. This is our foundation. These are our players. We help them get where they are today. It's a very big policy that we have. School always comes first. And they have good examples in the team. When you talk about the type of papers that the senior players have, we have this one, this one. They are able to look up to us. Okay, this one has a degree, but they're still able to play. They have this kind of job. Even you can be like our sponsor. Even you can be like this player. So it has been the number one thing to encourage all the young kids to stay in school, and school to be the number one aspect of their lives.
Okay, so before I lose Francis over here, let me just bring Francis once again. Lusaka Basket Kings obviously comes from, a history of victories, comes from a very, I would say it comes from a dynasty. Okay, so how do you move from being a dynasty to a club that is literally starting afresh? For you, how was that change? How did you manage to handle it? It's like you are all the way at the top. Before you realize it, you are down at the bottom and have to work your way back to the top. How has the journey been? You being the captain of the team, how has it been?
Okay, it's been rough, I can say. And sometimes in life throws you like that. Life is full of ups and downs. That's what makes it fun. Okay. So we were up there, and there are decisions that were made that were not, how do I put it? They were not up to us to decide. Okay. It's like someone tells you, leave my house today. You have no right to say, no, I will not leave. Their house, their rules. Okay. So the University of Zambia decide that they want their team, well, they only want students in their team. Okay. There's nothing you can say about it. There's nothing you can do about it. So what's the plan? What's plan B? Okay. So as a team, we need to sit down and discuss. What are we doing? Are we drifting to other teams, or are we just gonna form up a team. But if we have to form up a team, there is a price to pay. We have to play, we have to start off in the B-League. Okay. So we agreed as a team, okay, guys, who is with us on this journey and who is not? Okay. For me, it was not a blow to me. I could have gone to any other team, but I mean, look, we need to build a team. Our team was not in its best shape in the Super League, and we took this opportunity to actually regroup and put a bit of because there were a couple of new guys in the team. It was time to rebuild the team, inject some philosophy in them, teach them how it's done at that team. But we cannot do that in the Super League because it's so heated up. Okay. It was an opportunity for us to actually play in the B League to build the team, to get this philosophy in each and every player. Okay. In life, we all have to sacrifice. We had to sacrifice. We had to sacrifice. So it was about sacrifice, understanding what you are and where you are. Desperate times, these were. So we didn't lose much apart from the name. We had the same sponsors, the same coaches. Yeah, it was just a year. I mean, it wouldn't be a bad thing to actually play. For some of us, never played in the B League. This was the first time. So
And
I could have.
and how was the experience for you? How was the experience in the B League for you? Having played in the A League for a long time and playing in the B League, how would you say? Is there a major difference with regards competition between the A and the B League? What are the major differences?
The difference is simple. We have kids in the B League that are athletic. They are so quick. Okay. But the only difference is they are not technical. The Super League is about technicality. Apart from the physicality, you have to be technical. In the B League, no. It was just a matter of speed. Who gets to the hoop first? This is how these kids are. Physical, a lot of fouls there and there. In the Super League, they will not survive. Okay. And maybe the officiating in the B League as well was not up to standard. But you are in the B League. You have to adjust. Okay. We were not as quick as the kids were, but we knew how to run our sets. We had to run our sets in the half court offense, which they are not used to. So it was a new thing to them. Okay. So it was the technicality. Yeah.
Okay. So I can see that I can see that Chongo is back. So let me immediately come to you, Mr. Steezy. There's a personal question here describing what happened on the Copper Belt when Matera Magic almost became nothing. When you guys lost the first game, I remember you guys almost became nothing. So he says you showed up when the team needed. This is Mwila Lala Mulenga, who says you showed up when the team needed you the most on a lot of occasions, especially game 2 of the preliminaries on the Copper Belt. How did you tap into the beast energy? So Lala Mulenga would like to find out from you, how do you tap into that beast mode? How do you decide and say, this is Steezy time, it's cooking time? Like, you like doing that thing that you do, with the cooking gesture. How do you tap into that energy? What triggers it?
I think it's literally just knowing when to put in my energy, honestly. Somehow I think it just happens naturally. Maybe it's because of the, how long I've been playing in the league and what I've learned from the past. But mainly, to be honest, it just happens. It literally happens. I remember the last training session I had, the coach was actually telling me to say, we need you to get in that zone from the start. up to the finish of the game. You can't just be popping in when things are tough, you know. So I don't know how it just comes out.
I guess it's one of those things that makes a champion, or separates those people that ends up winning from those that actually, are still looking for their way to the top. But Nikki, let me come to you. Or before I come to you, Nikki, just allow me to bring in Jordan. David has a very important question for you. He first of all acknowledges and talks about the culture, that was created at Solwezi Knights of brotherhood, emphasis and prioritization on education, something that is very fundamental when it comes to having a successful career during and after the tenure of basketball. And then David also talks about a female team, looking at a solid culture and a solid organization with the right foundation so far, based on what you've explained that you're building in Solwezi. When are we likely to see a female team? Are there plans for a female team?
So we do have some female players that are training with us right now. It all comes down to sponsorship. Let me take this moment to thank Kelvin Chitambo, Benjamin Monakatwe, Michael, Changuya Sakapumba, Charles Mukupa. These gentlemen really helped us very much when it comes to transport and all logistics for the team. And if they can manage to send two teams, or if we can manage to use the same budget for two teams like Panthers did in 2015 or 2016, where you're just like, okay, we're getting 9 guys and 7 ladies. As long as they start participating, as long as they start getting that experience in the league, we can do that. But the number one thing right now that we need to do as Solwezi Knights is to find sponsorship. Sponsorship that can sponsor the men team, the female team, and the white BL as well. And the white BL and the female team, the same. We're putting the same emphasis because we want to be making players from Solwezi. We want Solwezi Knights to be full of players from Solwezi. We don't want to be in a situation where we start poaching players from other teams in the Copa Belt or Lusaka. So it all comes down to sponsorship. It all comes down to funds. We really need sponsorship so that the female team can be back. I remember when Kansashi Wildcats, the female team for Panthers, was in the league. They performed very well. They were always present in the championship. And I'm sure once we get the team running, once we get that sponsorship that we need, everybody will be back. I'm sure Messi from Buffaloes would be happy to be back home, and some other players that are not playing right now. So it's one of the things that we've put in place. We just need to get that sponsorship, and then we are good to go.
Okay, interesting take there from our comment section. Coach Kandala agreeing with the thoughts from Francis on the issue of technicality, and saying that obviously Luanshya Eagles probably, fell short to the Basket Kings due to the aspect of technical ability, something that a lot of Copa Belt teams can pick on, especially for this particular season. But Nikki, coming to you, how important has discipline been as an individual, as a team? And I ask this because the issue of discipline is very relative and very subjective, especially when it comes to basketball. People always argue and bring all kinds of thoughts when it comes to the issue of discipline. But how has discipline been when it comes to the Basket Queens achieving the summit of basketball in Zambia?
I think I'll go back to what I mentioned earlier on, that when it came to training, you find sometimes our coaches would really go hard on us because they know that we are, obviously, for example, if we meet on a Tuesday, which is the first day of training, they know that the weekends, these are, a lot of things happen. People go out, people, drink some wine, a lot of things happen. So every Tuesday, it would be very hard training just to, remove whatever it is that you put in your body on over the weekend. So for us, it came down to, I think, I don't know if this is the right stance. But I think, like, for example, if you drink alcohol, then you go training, like it hurts when you're running. Getting the alcohol out of your system hurts. So for us, it came down to the fact that we knew that Tuesday would be hard. So for in order for us to actually make training easier and enjoyable and not tiring, and would ensure that we knew we had championships that were being played, and it was only, is it a month, which is like 4 weekends. That's all we needed. So we talked as a team and we said, guys, look, we really need to calm down on whatever we do outside training, because it comes down to Tuesday training. It's not about Nikki being fit or Mayuka being fit or Emma being fit. It's about the whole team being fit. And the coaches can tell that these guys, they're not fit. So there came a time where coaches would sit, say, okay, Tuesday, they say, guys, let's run. We are all running. There's no one who's slacking. So they understood to say, okay, I think these guys have now reached it. At some point, we even reached a point where on Tuesday, instead of running, you'd be shocked. Coach Martin or Coach Muller would say, guys, let's go. We play a scrimmage inside. And be like, guys, isn't today Tuesday? So discipline came in, and the fact that we really, really knew what we wanted. Like, we knew what we wanted to achieve. We knew we were going to face Buffaloes, we were going to face Material Magic, and each team that we were facing, we did not underestimate them. We didn't go and have fun and say, no, because we're playing Hotspurs, we should go and do this, or because we're playing Mystics, we should go and do this. A game at a time. Don't underestimate your opponent. And it came down to discipline, because without all these things, we wouldn't have gotten there. And I think basically for me, Wenson, when I think of my team, I think the word that really comes to my mind is dominance. If dominance was a team, it would be Lusaka Basket Queens, because right now I know that all the teams now want to beat us. Each and every one of them want to have, a piece of us. So it will still come down to discipline. Are we still going to keep up with the hard work, which comes down to discipline? We need discipline to keep up the record. Are we going to break our own record? Are we going to let other people break that record? It will come down to discipline. If we won't have the discipline that we had, and just continue with it, then I don't know what will become of Saka Basket Queens. But as far as I'm concerned, we're still focused on the same goals. We still want to achieve more, maybe break our own record. But anything happens. I mean, it's basketball, but we are determined to stay disciplined. However way we're going to achieve this, we just need to stay disciplined as a team.
Mondes, I'm sure you are seeing what Coach David is saying in the comment section there, saying, welcome back to the Super League. That right now it's one step at a time. Before you think of Magic and Buffaloes and Napsa, please prepare for Bulldogs, Looters, Arrows, and the rest of the other guys that will be looking forward to welcoming you from there. As you laugh and think about that, Nikki was talking about, discipline and how crucial it was to helping the Basket Queens. From the men's side, I've seen a player gets left out on the lineup, on the final team that gets to compete in a game. And before you realize, they go to the bar, they buy alcohol, and they're drinking right there in the Nasdaq Arena as they are frustratingly cheering on their friends that have made the cut on the team. What are your thoughts on that? Is that a reflection of discipline? Should coaches, you as a captain, as the second coach for the team, as the other assistant coach for the team, what are your thoughts on that? Should coaches be letting that off the hook?
He had a couple of such cases where and people will start asking them questions. Why have you been left out on the team? Do you feel and think that guy is better than you who's on the team and you're not? Okay. It's it's immature, if I can call it, for one to behave like that. Okay. Sometimes we had players on the team who would be complaining, no, I've never played a final, I've never played against this team before. So I'll make reference to Coach Cuthbert. Okay. Your team has 20 players and only 12 can be on the roster at a particular game. Okay. So he'll give you a team list. Okay, write down the team. Write down a team of 12. Put your name first there. Look for 11 other players. Okay. And even you, as you sit down to write that roster, you will begin to think, no, I shouldn't be on this team. That guy should be on the team. Okay. I have played a couple of years in this league. I have gained a bit of experience. But one thing that I have learned and that has kept me on every roster, okay, is the fact that you need to contribute on both ends of the court. Offensively and defensively, you must be there. Which coach will leave you off the roster? There are people who have come in and said, me, I'm just a shooter. I'm just a three-point shooter. That's it. These guys are usually bad defenders. Okay. So imagine you're given 5 minutes of the 40 minutes. You take maybe 8 3-pointers. You only make 2. Why are you on the court? Okay. Here is Simukwera Lubinda, for example. The guy can drive to the basket. He can shoot 3-pointers. He can do a couple of things on the court. So next weekend we are saying, look, your 3-point shots are not falling. That guy is giving us a lot of things on the court. So we would rather keep that guy on the court or on the roster than you. Okay. So now people need to understand that not everyone can play. Okay. If I see you drinking a night before the game, I take it you're not ready. And we'll simply discuss with the coaches to say, this guy was drinking, he's not ready today. So he should be off the team. And because he was drinking, we should give him some extra punishment. He should miss the next maybe 3 games, but he should attend every practice session. Okay. This became a challenge for us to discipline players in that manner. So we say, if you're part of the team and you're not on the 12, we'll carry you along to the bench. You sit on the bench with us until the game is done. Okay. There are people who took this as maybe we're looking down upon them. They left the team to join other teams. But even as they left, they still regret. Because even where you're going, you know that at your position, there are better guys than you. So you would rather appreciate even the 2 or 3 minutes you are given. Okay. So discipline has been the most crucial thing, the most important thing in an athlete. Okay. Some of us have never taken alcohol. Yeah.
Okay.
That's
interesting. Even despite winning the B League championship, you still didn't take a bit of wine.
Nah. Even when I won my first MVP title, never.
Okay, there's an interesting question for you here in the comment section. Darlington wants to know that, is it true that Gosa is coming back to the team? Wow, I wasn't expecting this.
Well, I'll take it as a rumor for now. We have not sat down as a team or as management to actually discuss who's coming and who's leaving. Yeah, so I'll take that as a rumor.
Okay, interesting. So Nikki. Okay, so Nikki, let me bring you on, and there's a question for you there from Lila, who is asking something very, very important. She wants to know, as a captain who has some leadership responsibilities, what are some of the challenges that you face with regards dealing with talented teammates that sometimes can be hotheads?
I think I won't sugarcoat it. When we started the season, it was a little bit tricky because now I had I had teammates from, that have got different skill sets, different personalities, different backgrounds, so, and being captain, I don't really like, okay, I talk a lot, but when it comes to my team, I feel like my teammates are on the same level. They think the same as me somehow. Because there's some things that for example, Mayuka would say something during the nationals. It's okay, guys, we really need to have our heads in this, and that's something I'm thinking of saying. So my teammates would say the things that the team needs to do. So there's no need for me to actually show leadership there because we all understand the objectives. But when we started the season, it was a little bit tricky because would find maybe we have this person who is on the basketball. Okay, my teammates are gonna kill me for this, but let me just say it like this. We've got Mayuka, she's really good with the ball. We've got Emma, she's good with the ball. We've got Cynthia can shoot the ball. Miriam, we've got Gift. So you find maybe Gift is complaining that the ball is not going in because Mayuka keeps driving in, but Mayuka is making the baskets and Gift is not getting the ball in the paint. So would have maybe a little bit of conflicts, right? Like those. But into the season, we started, learning and understanding each other to say, okay, sometimes when Mayuka drives to the basket, she's asking for space from me so she can kick out the ball to me to shoot, or she can dump the ball down for Gift to get it and make an easy basket. So I think like what I earlier stated to say, the winning of the 27 games for us was coming together as a team, playing as a team, leaving our egos, our just bringing our skills together and saying, okay, guys, what can we do with this? Emma can drive to the basket. When Emma drives to the basket, we don't need a power forward to stand in her way. Let her go and finish. If she doesn't finish, pick up the rebound and finish. Or we have someone like Miriam. Miriam can drive to the basket, give us space. We've got people like Cynthia Mambo. Cynthia Mambo is a very good three-point shooter. You go into the basket, you can't find that lane, kick it out, she's going to shoot. So we started understanding each other as teammates, and it didn't really need us to start like playing together and be, friends. No, it just a training. Started a training. We would have mini conversations like maybe Mayuka will tell me, Nikki, you need to start shooting the ball, or she'll tell me, like, okay, I would see to say, okay, Mayuka is driving in. When she's driving in, I have to stay back because we have to protect our basket. So it started from training. We started understanding each other, and it was all about, understanding your teammate, what their abilities, how you can help them, grow as a player. So we started talking. Would have conversations. It wasn't really, like, oh heavenly, like, no, Wendy, your shot is good. Sometimes we'd argue. Yes, it's what makes greatness. I mean, there's no team that just makes it without arguments, and we are ladies. But we definitely got to a point where we understood each other. Even when we were playing Buffaloes, it wasn't as it was before, where we would, be yelling at each other, talking to each other badly. We knew that the more we argued amongst ourselves, the more separated we were. So we had to work each other. We had to work together to actually attain this goal. So I think, Lala, for us, it was all about understanding each other. Otherwise, the strong personalities and the talent is what actually gave us this 27-0.
So now I've heard some people, Nikki, say, for example, in the feminine division, you've got quite a number of your colleagues that come from across the Zambezi River. I'm talking about the Zimbabwean players that are with us right now that have become part of the family. In fact, let me not say they are part, have become. They are, and they have been part of the family. And I've heard some divided opinions concerning this. Some feel like, no, they're taking over the league. They're the ones that are having more playtime than our players, blah, blah, blah. There's this, there's that. What are your thoughts, concerning some of these thoughts that have been shared, some of these opinions that people have put forward with regards what we're seeing happening in the league in that respect?
I think I have actually heard of those I'll call them misconceptions, because I feel they're not really taking over anything. It's not like they're gonna play on our Zambian national team. I think the fact that they are being, they are coming into our country to play basketball is something we should actually be happy about, because firstly, it's exposure to our sport. Our league is becoming competitive because of the same people. So I think the only problem I have is the fact that these people are outworking us. I'll give you an example of Dorcas Marondia. She was once my teammate. Dorcas used to love working out, and she would, when somebody sees her on the, or just as a person right from the court, they would think, she's lazy and whatever. But Dorcas was a workaholic. So now imagine this person is your teammate and she's working harder than you. You'd think, no, maybe it's because she's getting paid. Work hard, just work hard. She knew that through basketball she was getting a living out of it. So what, she had to work hard for that. So I think the reason why we talk about things like they're invading our league is because we don't want to work as hard. Because I've played for a Zimbabwean team myself. I've gone to Swaziland before with Vixens from Zimbabwe, and there was no such thing as, for me, I thought it was, exchanging of basketball views is good for us. We see countries like Europe. The Euro League doesn't only consist of European players, or the same NBA that we watch. We've got Nigerians are playing in the NBA. So why is it that here in Zambia we are now saying no, they're invading? They're not invading anything. It's just the fact that they're outworking us. We need to work hard. We need to work hard. If we're saying they're invading, are we having the same work ethic as them? Because if they are outworking us and they are having more playtime than you, then it means that you actually not, you don't love the game as much as they do. But I don't really agree with the fact that they're invading. They're not really invading anything. It's a stage for us to actually step up and say, okay, guys, Mary is from Zimbabwe and she plays the same position as me, and they're playing for the same team. I need to work hard so that coach can look at her and say, Nikki brings this, Mary has this sufficiency in a game. So I think it's just the work ethic, guys. There's no invasion anywhere.
Okay, interesting remarks over there. Let me bring on Jordan. Unfortunately, guys, we need to wrap up the conversation. I know we can go on and on, but we need to be cognizant of the fact that tomorrow is obviously working day and there are other things that we need to do. So, Jordan, as we get to close and wrap up, I would like to find out from you, what are some of the key lessons that you picked up having come to Lusaka, or having gone through what you went through in your journey to playing Francis in the finals in Lusaka? What are some of the key things that you picked up, and what should people expect Solwezi Knights to be able to give them in the coming season?
It was a very good matchup. I was actually the one who was guarding Francis, and I couldn't do anything. I don't know why he just stayed on the floor. it was bad. He tried to take him to the left. They were so organized. They knew what they were doing. Everyone was just moving. You look at the guys. There was a time on the floor they had Brighton, and then Paul was there, Francis as well, and then number 6. You look at these big guys, and now they are moving. They're not really moving as fast, but they're organized. They are moving as a unit. And you are in your position. You don't know what they are going to do. They are passing the ball. Just like Coach Kandala said, the technical aspect of the game when it comes to Lusaka team compared to Copper Belt, because here we just try to outrun you or maybe outpower you. It was difficult to guard. We didn't know where the shot was coming from. We didn't know their go-to guy. Everyone was doing their part. In the fourth quarter, the type of the mental strength, they were composed. Unlike us, we just gave up 6 minutes to go. Everybody was tired. We didn't know what was happening. We looked overwhelmed. But when you look at the way they played the whole game with a game plan, we had a game plan, but when you look at the way the execution, it wasn't really looking like we had to stick to the game plan. But we look at Lusaka Basket Kings and how they played. They were moving. They are running a play. They play like, okay, this looks like triangle, but you can't stop the triangle they are running. You know what they are running, but you can't stop it. So like, shout out to Francis and the number 1, the guard. They really showed us the way you're supposed to run plays. And it was a great experience. Another good experience was just watching the final, the Buffalo Magic. You look at the kids, and then you get that feeling that this is where we want to be as a team. So Lazy Knights, we want to be in this final, not the final we just played. We want to be in this final, this type of Magic Buffalo type of final in 3-4 years from now. We have to compete to go to the BAL. We don't want to be just a participating team. We win CBA, we come, we play against the fourth team on the MB, and then we lose. So we looked at that. People got inspired. Like everyone is now going to the gym. They're going to the lab just to work on something because of the players that we watched. The big guys were watching Mike and Elijah and the likes. The guards looked at Saupi, Poika, and Ogi. You look at the players in Lusaka and you're just inspired. Everyone was inspired, and that was a good part, especially for these kids in high school who are in college. I think that was a learning experience, and for us, being positive was a win. We lost, but just took everything as a win. So we tried to build from that, and then 3 years from now, we're going to be in that final, the big one, and we're going to do something better.
It's a good thing that what you've just said has been put on record right now. So we will definitely start counting down and looking forward to that. But before we move on, David has got a very, very good follow-up question for you. As observed by Coach Kandala, the issue of the gap with regards the technical ability between, say, what we've seen from the Copper Belt or the teams from the Copper Belt and Lusaka. So David would like to find out, what are you going to do to be able to bridge this gap, the issue of being technically not better than Lusaka or Midlands basketball teams? How are you going to address this issue?
So it starts from practice, and not just any type of practice. We need practice. We need to practice with people and coaches that know how to play technical basketball. We need help. We need help from people like Coach David right there, people who know how to play this game. So this off season we have a very good space and time to practice on how we can play. I don't want to say like a Lusaka team, how we can play a technical type of basketball. We don't want to play like a typical CBA type of team. Look at Panthers and how the type of morals and standards that they were laid into them. Even now, we're still running some plays that Panthers used to run because they work. And that's what we want to build on. We want to have plays, we want to be organized. And it starts from the coaches, it starts from the executive and the type of practice, perfect practice that we put in. So God willing, this off season we're going to work on that. We want to see a different type of Lazy Knights. And the other thing that we can also work on that most teams don't do is planning our games against a particular team. If we're playing dollar takers, we see how they play. If we have tape, we watch the technical bench. They watch tape, they pick out how we can do, and then we go on the court and execute. This is something that we want to pick up that we've talked about. So those 3 points. We want watching tape, technical, and just starting from the coaches. Just pick. We need help with a coach who knows how to play technical basketball.
Okay, interesting stuff there. Let me come to you, Francis, as we get to wrap up. What are some of your final thoughts with regards? Of course, you've shared a little bit of how the journey has been for the Lusaka Basket Kings, being relegated to the Super League, coming from a place of victory, from a place of status, to going to play in a developmental league. It has not been very easy, but you guys had to swallow your pride, play in there, worked your way back to the top. And obviously everybody will be looking to see how exactly or what the Basket Kings will be looking like coming into the season. So as we get to wrap up, what will be your final thoughts with regards what it takes to win?
Well, we would have graduated obviously from the B League. Going into the Super League is a different ball game. We all know that. Coach David Musonda is saying, before you think of Matera Magic and the big dog, think of the Looters and the Bulldogs. Yeah, I watched a couple of Super League games last season, and you can't go to sleep because you're playing Bulldogs. You can't rest because you're playing Looters. They're the guys that will spoil your day. They are the party spoilers, actually. I've been there. I've seen it. Okay. The moment you say we are playing Bulldogs tomorrow and we can afford to relax, therein lies a problem. Because you beat Matera Magic, you beat Napsa, but you find that at the end of the season, you will have the same number of losses, but because of Bulldogs, you can't win the league because they beat you. So you really need to be tactical. You will never underrate any team. There is a reason these teams are in the Super League. Above all, you need to respect each and every team. This is one thing I have learned. Okay. You need to be technical as a player, as a team, to play in the Super League. You have to engage everyone in the technicality. And I'm glad that the current Lusaka Basket King have actually adapted to the technicality aspect of the game. They know when to calm down, when to rush the game. So I don't think it will be so hard for us to adapt in the Super League, back in the Super League, because most of these guys are technical sound right now. Yeah. But above all, I feel we'll have a good run in the Super League. We hope to actually play the finals. We actually admire looking at Green Buffaloes take on Matera Magic. The way the arena was packed, wow. That was us back then, but I mean, we just have to get there. We love to play under such conditions.
Okay, interesting over there. So, Deca, before we get to wrap up the show, I would like to get your thoughts on what does it really take to be a champion. I know you spoke quite. I mean, you alluded to quite a number of things that people can consider to be able to work their way to the top and be the team that has an impressive 27-0 run. You know, history that has been made in the Zambian basketball. And we're yet to see if a time will ever come when that will be undone. So what are some of your final thoughts with regards what it takes to win a championship, especially in a fashion that your team did it in a historical way?
You have to be Lusaka Basket Queens firstly. I'm joking. I think for you to actually be a champion, you need to be able to be a team that's willing to learn, that's willing to sacrifice, that's willing to play together, that's willing to understand what the team needs, and that's willing to just play as a team and put aside all differences, all sorts of things that will bring division amongst the team. That's what makes a champion. And I think most importantly, to be a champion, you need to have a mental toughness, because you can't be a champion if you're not mentally tough. You might be playing the finals series of three and you're down 1-0, and at the second game you're halftime, you're blown out. If you're not mentally tough and you don't come back strong in the second half, then you're gone. But a champion who is mentally tough understands that I'm down at halftime, meaning I'm doing something wrong in the first half. I need to pull up my socks and play better than the opponent in the second half in order to tie this game and win game three. Otherwise, being a champion is not something that's done overnight. I think Kobe has mentioned this a lot in his quotes. A champion works hard. A champion understands that when your opponent is sleeping, you have to be working. Are we willing to do that in order to remain champions? Then, if your answer is yes to that question, then you'll be a champion. But you just have to be ready for the sacrifices that come with being a champion.
All right, interesting over there. So, at this particular juncture, unfortunately, I have to let go of all of you as we need to spare some time for rest. And I must say that it has been a pleasure interacting with each and every one of you. The skipper himself, Mondos, Francis Chelevela, thank you very much for making time to be with us. Nikki, thank you for joining us. And of course, the man that has a legendary name when it comes to the game of basketball, Mr. Jordan. Thank you very much. Steezy Chona, who unfortunately is not with us due to some technical issues. I'm very surprised that the magic from Matero is not that strong to be able to have good network. But anyway, we still do appreciate you for coming through and sharing some important lessons that Mateo Magic had to, employ, and some of the things that had to be done from all these teams that have won the championships that are currently sitting at the Summit of Zambian Basketball, just coming through and interacting with everybody else, sharing how the journey has been, letting us into your teams, into your locker room, some of the things and lessons that you've picked up. We really, really do appreciate. For people like Coach David Msonda, that's been very active in our comment section, firing the questions, and not only firing the questions, but also sharing his knowledge. And something that most of you do not actually know, David Msonda is a person that half the time co-produces this show with me. So he's not a man that you hear say a lot of things, but he's one person that does quite a whole lot of work just to co-produce this particular show every Thursday, and is always there whenever I call on him, whenever I need things. So thank you very much, David Msonda, for being my co-producer and for being committed to the game of basketball. And I'm just reading something right now. David is saying, Bando ya sira stizi. Okay, so that's quite interesting over there. So thank you very much, everybody else, for joining through. Lala, Rita, Ellen, Ricky, Katrina, Joseph, Coach Kandala, KK Mwanza, my usual suspect in doing these things. She's also a very key contributor when it comes to putting one or two things in place for this particular show, despite her being on the Copper Belt, by the way. So thank you very much, KK Mwanza, for always being there whenever I need you. Joseph, everybody else, thank you for tuning in. Those of you that were following us via Twitter, thank you very much. Those of you that are following us via YouTube, thank you very much. And remember, you can simply let us know, or let me know, what exactly you would like us to talk about next on this particular show. On my Facebook page, you can suggest the topics, basketball related. We will be able to look at those topics and graciously be able to discuss them on this particular platform. Remember what I always say, this is your platform, a show specifically designed to give you an opportunity to be able to discuss progressive basketball things. So the name is Wenson Mavoro. Those have been my guests. Thank you very much, guys. Have yourselves a good night and see you next week.
Good night.